What's up, geeks and game masters? Welcome to the Hobby Hub. Your resident GM Gabe here, and today we'll be doing another character build for D&D 5e. And just as the title suggests, it's going to be everyone's favorite stone-faced Triclops. No, not you. Now, keep in mind that this is a pretty advanced build in terms of the sheer amount of actions you can take in a single round, which means that if you're new to D&D, don't really understand the mechanics, it might be a little difficult to grasp at first. But if you have any questions, just ask away in the comment section below. There will also be timestamps in the description so you can skip around the video as much as you need to. I do want to say as well that there's this awesome character sheet app you can easily download onto your phone called 5th edition Character Sheet. It's great, it's easy to use, and it has all content from every source, updated regularly, absolutely free to you. This isn't a sponsor or anything, but I really like this app, and I use it personally. If you like what you see in this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. Now, without any further delay, let's open our Jagan Eye and get into character. So firstly, we're going to select Hiei's race, which will be the Tiefling. I chose Tiefling because of Hiei's demonic heritage, being born as a fire demon. As a Tiefling, we gain ability score increases of +1 to intelligence and +2 to charisma. We gain dark vision, resistance to fire damage, and we can speak, read, and write common and infernal. Also at first level, we know the cantrip Thaumaturgy. When we reach 3rd level, we can cast Hellish Rebuke as a 2nd level spell once per long rest, and at 5th level, we can cast the spell Darkness once per long rest. Now that we've selected our race, we're going to provide Hiei with his starting ability scores. As always with these builds, I'm going to be using the standard method to simplify things, but if you'd like to roll for him, feel free. Keep in mind that your score should look something like this. Dexterity will be our highest ability score, as Hiei is known to be blindingly fast and precise with his weapon strikes. By the time the enemy realizes they've been hit, it's already too late. The next highest ability score will be Constitution, because Hiei has proven many times, especially in the Dark Tournament Saga, to ignore his pain in order to achieve victory. The next highest score will be Wisdom, as Hiei is known to be a very experienced fighter, even at a young age when he was ranked as an A-class demon. Our 4th highest stat will be Charisma, because Hiei shows on countless occasions that he has the utmost confidence in his own abilities. He knows that when he says he'll do something, he can back it up. Our 5th highest stat will be Strength, and the reason for this is because in this build, Dexterity will be way more important than Strength. Strength won't really be a stat we use later on in levels. And finally, our last stat will be Intelligence, because Hiei doesn't take time to study his opponent, he prefers taking his enemy head on with full force. Now, remember, the Tiefling race provides us with a +1 to Intelligence and a +2 to Charisma, leaving our totals at 15 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 14 Charisma, 13 Wisdom, 10 Strength, and a 9 Intelligence. Our starting class will be the Fighter, which will provide us with a 1d10 in our pool of hit dice and a starting hit point total of 12. We gain proficiencies with all forms of weapons and armors, and we gain saving throw proficiencies in Strength and Constitution, leaving our save modifiers at +2 for Strength and +4 for Constitution. We also get to choose 2 skill proficiencies from Acrobatics, Animal Handling, Athletics, History, Insight, Intimidation, Perception, and Survival. For these, I chose Intimidation, as Hiei enjoys taunting his opponents in the heat of a fight, and I chose Perception because having the Jagan Eye should definitely help with noticing things that would otherwise be missed by someone who doesn't have a 3rd eye. As for our starting equipment, I went with the leather armor and the longbow. I went ahead and picked up 2 martial weapons, being 2 short swords. I took 2 hand axes, and I took the explorer's pack. As a 1st level fighter, we get to select a fighting style. I went with dueling to gain a +2 damage bonus with our weapon strikes. Lastly, we gain the fighter feature Second Wind, which will allow us to use a bonus action to regain 1d10 plus our fighter level worth of hit points once per short or long rest. This will definitely help with Hiei's survivability. Now moving on to our background. We're going to select the Urban Bounty Hunter because as a child, Hiei was raised by a group of bandits after he was cast out by his kin. With this background, we gain 2 skill proficiencies from Deception, Insight, Persuasion, and Stealth. I went ahead and chose Insight and Stealth. We also gain 2 tool proficiencies from a gaming set, a musical instrument, and Thieves' tools. You can select whichever suits you best for this, but I would highly recommend taking the Thieves' tools at least. As for our starting equipment, we gain a set of clothes appropriate to our duties, which we can flavor as Hiei's black cloak that he always wears, and finally, we start with 20 gold pieces. Our background feature is Ear to the Ground, which provides us with a connection to the criminal underworld, which would make sense since Hiei in the show is actively searching for his twin sister through the criminal underworld. Now we can finally move on to the role-playing aspect of Hiei. Starting with our personality traits, I put, I am the strongest there is, and I'm willing to put your life on that. I put this because it honestly sounded like some cold-blooded shit that Hiei would say to his enemies right before he kicked their ass. Next, I put, mercy is a sign of weakness, for which I have none of. Once again, I put this because it just sounds like something Hiei would say in any given episode. I believe these traits really help give an idea of the type of character Hiei is. If I had to place Hiei on the alignment chart, I'd say he's neutral evil, purely because throughout the show he makes his own intentions clear by stating that he'll use the party members just to get what he wants in his own pursuit of power. Now we move on to Hiei's ideals, or what he strongly believes in. For this, I put strength is power, and power is everything. The reason I put this is because, like I've mentioned before, Hiei's whole shtick had always been about his confidence in being the strongest demon alive, and without his strength, he would be nothing. As for Hiei's bonds, I put, my twin sister is the last remnant of kinship that I have. I will do everything to protect her. I felt like this was an easy one, as Hiei has only really shown signs of compassion when his twin sister Yukina is in discussion. Throughout the show, he has made it clear to the other characters that protecting Yukina is one of his main goals. Lastly, we move on to Hiei's flaws, and once again, I feel like this is an easy one. I put, people are pawns to me. I will use someone to get what I want, then discard them just as easily. Now, I will say that by the end of the series, Hiei had definitely changed as a person, but for this build, we're going with the undeveloped Hiei, as it will make for a better story. At level 2, we're going to take another level in the fighter class, which will grant us another d10 in our pool of hit dice, making it a total of 2d10. Our maximum hit point total also increases to 20. As a second level fighter, we gain Action Surge, which will allow us to take an additional action once per short or long rest. If Hiei is supposed to be this blindingly fast swordsman, this feature will really help us when making quick attack actions, especially when we gain the extra attack feature. At level 3, we're going to take another level in the fighter class, which will make our total hit dice increase to 3d10 and our max hit points increase to 28. At this level, our Infernal Legacy Rachel feature allows us to cast Hellish Rebuke as a second level spell using Charisma once per long rest. At fighter level 3, we have the option of selecting a martial archetype. I went with the Samurai because of the Fighting Spirit feature, which will definitely come in handy later on in this build. With Fighting Spirit, we can use a bonus action to grant ourselves advantage on all weapon attack rolls until the end of our turn, and we also gain 5 temporary hit points when we activate this feature. We can use this feature up to 3 times per long rest. This feature, paired with Action Surge and Extra Attack, will kill the competition, quite literally. We also gain a bonus proficiency in either History, Insight, Performance, or Persuasion when we select this martial archetype. Seeing as we already have the most important one on that list, being Insight, feel free to pick whichever you feel is best. Alternatively, you can forego learning a skill proficiency and learn a new language instead. Again, this is up to you. At level 4, we're going to take our first level in the Rogue class, which will make our total hit die come out to 3d10 and 1d8. Also, our max hit points now increase to 35. When we multi-class as a rogue, we can select one skill proficiency from the rogue skill list. I went ahead and chose athletics to make up for our average strength score. As a first level rogue, we can select any 2 of our proficient skills and make them expertise skills. For this, I chose intimidation to help reinforce Hiei's edgelord nature, and perception because once again, the man has 3 eyes. We also gain the class feature Sneak Attack, which is equal to a d6 at first level. Once per turn, we can deal our Sneak Attack damage die to a creature we hit with an attack that has advantage. The attack must use a finesse or a ranged weapon, which we're using a short sword, so it won't be an issue. Sneak Attack paired with Fighting Spirit will definitely synergize very well when you ever need to get off an important hit on an enemy. Lastly, at this level, we learn the secret language of the criminal underworld, Thieves' Cant, which could prove to be very useful when discussing our character's background feature. At level 5, we're going to take another level in the Rogue class, which will make our hit die pool increase to 3d10 and 2d8. Our maximum hit points will also increase to 42. At this level, our Infernal Legacy Rachel feature allows us to cast the spell Darkness using Charisma once per long rest. As a second level rogue, we gain the class feature Cunning Action, which allows us to use a bonus action to dash, disengage, or hide. This feature will definitely help us when fleshing out a quick and quiet Hiei. And lastly, at character level 5, our proficiency bonus increases from +2 to a +3, which will reflect as a +1 on each of our proficient skills, saving throws, and attack rolls, and our expertise skills increase by +2. At level 6, we're going to take our third level in Rogue, which will increase our hit die pool to 3d10 and 3d8. Our max hit points will also increase to 49. As a third level rogue, we can now select a roguish archetype. For this build, we will be using the Swashbuckler. We gain the class features Fancy Footwork and Rakish Audacity. Fancy Footwork allows us to make an attack against a creature, then slip away without causing an attack of opportunity, which is ideal for Hiei so he can be able to constantly reposition himself on the battlefield. Rakish Audacity not only allows us to add our Charisma modifier to our initiative rolls, but it also allows us to apply our sneak attack damage die if we're going one-on-one with another creature. This is great for us because if we're singling out a single creature, we won't have to use our Fighting Spirit feature to gain advantage on the roll, saving it for when we really need it. Our sneak attack die will now increase to 2d6. At level 7, we're going to take our first level in the Monk class. Now, this is where the build really starts to get advanced in terms of rules and action efficiency. There's already a lot we can do with this build, and now we'll be able to do a lot more. So the key to playing this build at max efficiency is to know and understand every little thing you can do. So, at this level, our pool of hit dice increased to 3d10 and 48, while our max hit points increased to 56. As a first level monk, we gain unarmored defense, which will allow us to add our wisdom modifier to our AC when we aren't wearing any armor. This is a great feature for us because Hiei doesn't wear any armor, so he isn't slowed down in any way. At this point, you should not be wearing any armor so that we can gain the benefits of the next feature. Martial Arts, which states that when we wield a monk weapon, such as a short sword, and when not wearing any armor, we can use dexterity for attack and damage rolls with unarmed strikes and monk weapons. We can roll a d4 for damage with our unarmed strikes, which will increase over time, and we can make a bonus action unarmed strike after we attack with the monk weapon. Now, these are all great, but not the most that we're going to get out of this class. Keep that in mind. At level 8, we're going to take our second level in the Monk class, which will increase our hit die to 3d10 and 5d8. Our maximum hit points will also increase to 63. At this level, we will be gaining key points equal to our monk level, so as of right now, we will have a total of 2 key points. We regain spent key points at the end of a short or long rest. We also now have a key save DC, which is a number that a creature will have to beat when trying to resist some of your key empowered features. Our key save DC is equal to 8, plus our proficiency bonus, plus our wisdom modifier, which will make our DC a 12. We gain 3 key empowered features at this level. The first one will be Flurry of Blows. This will allow us to spend a bonus action after we make an attack to make 2 additional unarmed strikes. We learn Patient Defense, which is another fantastic ability that will really help flesh out Hiei's blinding speed. We can spend a key point to take the dodge action as a bonus action. And finally, we learn Step of the Wind, which allows us to spend a key point and a bonus action to dash, disengage, and double our jump distance. We literally will not be using this ability as we already have Cunning Action from the Rogue class, which is this, but better. And finally, at this level, we gain Unarmored Movement, which will increase our base walking speed by 10 feet to a maximum of 40 when we aren't wearing any armor. This will increase as we gain monk levels. At level 9, we're going to take our third level in the Monk class, which will increase our hit dice to 3d10 and 68, and our max hit points increases to 70. We now have a total of 3 key points to spend, and as a third level monk, we can pick a monastic tradition. I went with the Way of the 4 Elements so that we can somewhat flesh out Hiei's Dragon of the Darkness Flame ability. We learn the Disciple of the Elements feature, which allows us to spend key points to cast certain spells. Right off the bat, we know the Elemental Attunement discipline, which basically allows us to create small harmless effects through the power of the elements. but we also get to pick one more. I went with the Fangs of the Fire Snake, which states that when we use the attack action, we can spend 1 key point to increase our unarmed strike's reach by 10 feet to a total of 15 feet, and the damage deals fire instead of bludgeoning for that attack. Additionally, if we spend another key point after the attack hits, we can deal an extra 1d10 fire damage on top of the normal martial arts die. Also, as a 3rd level monk, we gain the ability to deflect missiles. We can use our reaction to deflect or catch a missile when we are hit by a ranged weapon attack. When we do so, the damage we take is reduced by 1d10 plus our dex modifier of 2 plus our monk level of 3, making it 1d10 plus 5. Also, if the damage is reduced to 0, we can spend a key point to make a ranged weapon attack with a caught missile. And finally at this level, our proficiency bonus increases from a +3 to a +4, which will in turn increase our proficient skills, saving throws, and attack rolls by +1, as well as our expertise skills by +2, and our key save DC is now at a 13. At level 10, we're going to take another level in the fighter class, which will increase our hit die to 4d10 and 68. Our maximum hit points will also increase to 78. As a 4th level fighter, we can now select an ability score improvement or feat of our choosing. For this, I went with a +1 to dexterity, making it a 16, and a +1 to wisdom, making it a 14. An increase in dexterity will provide us with a +3 modifier, which will reflect in our initiative bonus, armor class, skills, saving throws, and attack and damage rolls. An increase in wisdom will provide us with a +2 modifier, which will reflect in our armor class from unarmored defense, skills, saving throws, and our key save DC. At level 11, we're going to take another level in fighter, providing us with a hit die total of 5d10 and 68. Our hit point maximum will also increase to 86. At this level, we gain the extra attack feature, which allows us to make 2 attacks with a single attack action. This, paired with our Flurry of Blows feature, will be devastating, especially if sneak attack is applied and we're using Fangs of the Fire Snake discipline. At level 12, we're going to take our last level in the fighter class, which will give us a hit die total of 6d10 and 68, and our max hit points will increase to a total of 94. At this level, we can select either an ability score improvement or feat. I went ahead and increased our dexterity to an 18, making our modifier +4, which will reflect in our initiative bonus, our armor class, skills, saving throws, and attack and damage rolls. At level 13, we're going to take our 4th level in the rogue class. This will provide us with a total of 60-10 and 78 in our pool of hit dice, and our max hit points will now increase to 101. Now, also at this level, our proficiency bonus increases from a +4 to a +5, which will reflect as a +1 on each of our proficient skills, saving throws, and attack rolls, and a +2 for our expertise skills. Our key save DC will also increase to a 15. As a 4th level rogue, we get to select either an ability score improvement or a feat of our choosing. I went ahead and maxed our dexterity all the way to a 20, making our modifier a +5, which will reflect on our initiative bonus, our armor class, skills, saving throws, and attack and damage rolls. At level 14, we're going to be taking another level in the rogue class. This will grant us a total of 6d10 and 8d8 in our pool of hit dice. Our max hit point total will now increase to 108. As a 5th level rogue, our sneak attack die now increases to 3d6 and we gain the uncanny dodge feature, which states, when an attacker you can see hits you with an attack, you can use your reaction to halve the attack's damage. This is especially great for this build because Hiei's speed has gotten him out of some pretty sticky situations. At level 15, we're going to take another level in rogue, which will give us a total of 60-10 and 98 in our hit die pool. Our max hit points will also increase to 115. As a 6th level rogue, we gain 2 more expertise skills of our choosing. I went ahead and chose athletics to really make a difference with strength, and stealth to improve Hiei's nimbleness. At level 16, we're going to take our 7th level in rogue, which will make our hit die pool increase to 60-10 and 10d8. Our max hit points will now increase to 122. As a 7th level rogue, our sneak attack die now increases to 4d6 and we gain the class feature Evasion, which states that when we are subjected to making a dexterity saving throw to take only half damage, we instead take no damage if we succeed and half damage if we fail. And what's great about this ability is that there's no reaction requirement, it's purely a passive ability. At level 17, we're going to take our last level in the Rogue class, which will provide us with a hit die pool of 60-10 and 11d8, and our max hit points will increase to 129. Also at this level, our proficiency bonus will increase to a +6, which will reflect as a +1 on each of our proficient skills, saving throws, and attack rolls, and our expertise skills will increase by +2. As an 8th level rogue, we get the option to select an ability score improvement or feat of our choosing. I went ahead and increased our wisdom to a 16, which will grant us a modifier of +3, which will also reflect in our armor class from unarmored defense, skills, saving throws, and our key save DC, which is now equal to a 17. At level 18, we're going to take our 4th level in the monk class, which will provide us with a total of 60-10 and 12d8 in our hit die pool. Our max hit points will also increase to 136. As a level 4 monk, we get the option to select an ability score improvement or feat of our choosing. I went ahead and increased our wisdom to an 18, which will grant us a modifier of +4, which will in turn reflect in our armor class from unarmored defense, skills, saving throws, and our key save DC, which is now equal to an 18. We now have a total of 4 key points that we can spend, and we also get the class feature Slow Fall, which allows us to use a reaction to reduce falling damage by an amount equal to 5 times our monk level, which means our slow fall reduction is equal to 20. At level 19, we're going to take another level in the monk class, which will give us a total of 60-10 and 13d8 in our hit die pool. Our max hit points will also increase to 143. At this level, we now have a total of 5 key points that we can spend. Our martial arts die now increases to a d6, and we gain the class feature Stunning Strike, which reads that when we hit another creature with a melee weapon attack, we can spend 1 key point to force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw against our key save DC, or be stunned until the end of our next turn. Now, we do gain another class feature at this level, and that is Extra Attack, but unfortunately the rules state that you cannot benefit from Extra Attack twice unless it states in the class feature, such as in the Fighter class. Now, in my games, I don't really care. I allow things like this to slide because it makes the game that much more fun. Now, in this case, just talk to your GM and see what they rule. If they say yes, then awesome. If they say no, then hey, no worries. We're all just here to have fun. And finally, at level 20, we're going to take our last level in the monk class, which will provide us with 60-10 and 14d8 in our pool of hit die. Our max hit points will also increase to 150. As a 6th level monk, we now have a grand total of 6 key points to spend, and we gain a few class features. The first being Key Empowered Strikes. This allows our unarmed strikes to count as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistances and immunities to non-magical attacks and damage. Next, we get to select another elemental discipline from the Way of the Four Elements subclass. I went ahead and picked Sweeping Cinder Strike, which allows us to spend 2 key points to cast Burning Hands. And lastly, our unarmored movement will increase by 5 feet, leaving us at a base walking speed of 45 feet.
So, as you guys could probably tell, this build is very advanced purely because of the amount of options you have in a single round. But the main thing about this build is to be effective in combat, which I feel like it does well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything in this video, please let us know in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. Also, let us know if you want to see more builds like this. They've definitely been tons of fun, and I'd like to continue this little series. Salutations, Brave Adventurers! Until next, we meet again.